you, Stephanie. Well, good afternoon. It's a joy for me to be here. The text that we're going to draw from today is a text relating the fall of the wall of Jericho from Joshua. And I'm going to read 5 verses and then invite all of us to go on a little journey together. Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times, with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up. Everyone straight in." That is the story, and that is the song that we will hear together today. I want to begin with a greeting inspired from the Hindu tradition to rest this moment we have together on a foundation of gratitude and vulnerability and hopefully truth. The light in me greets the light in you. The pain in me greets the pain in you. The people whose love I carry within me greet the people whose love you carry within you. The vision that gets me going every morning greets the vision that gets you going every morning. The wall, the tall wall, the thick wall in me greets the wall in you. So I'm going to invite you for the next 15 seconds into a spirit of silent prayer. I'm going to invite you to look at a wall in your heart. Not do anything about it. Just see it, touch it, get to know it. Because that wall, that very wall, is the wall that God calls us to tear down and break through today. Please join me in the spirit of that silent prayer. In a commencement address to the 1992 graduating class of Spelman College, the one and only Maya Angelou said this to the graduates, and I quote, "I belong to you. You are mine. You are absolutely mine. I have given birth to each one of you because I have dreamed you. I have loved you as your parents and your aunts and uncles and all your teachers have loved you. You were born right out of their heads, right out of their hearts. We have invented you because we have stayed alive, miraculously. And it is imperative that you see yourselves as having been loved." Then she gave some very practical, pretty fabulous advice to the students about the ever nerve-wracking endeavor of going into an interview. This is what she said, and I quote once again. "Anytime you have anything to do, bring everybody who has loved you with you. The great-great-grandmothers, the great-grandmother, the grandmothers, everyone who has loved you. When you walk into an office, you don't go alone. Bring your people with you. And then no matter what is on your resume, no matter what you look like, they won't be able to take their eyes off you. They may say you have some charisma, that you're special, but no, it's the love of those who have loved you. You and I are here today because someone else loved us, walked us, fed us, heard us, challenged us, made us, empowered us. We were born right of the heads and hearts of those people who have loved us. And it is right to invoke some names into this atmosphere at this moment. To give thanks for all the heads, hearts, feet, arms, hands, eyes, tongues, and bodies that have walked us into this place at this very moment. We are here today because people who chose and dared to be family to us broke down walls for us, broke through walls for us, marched in silence, day after day, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, for us. We have never done it alone. We cannot do it alone. We must not do it alone. I need you. You need me to be all we can be. And that is precisely what God is reminding Joshua of in today's passage. As the people of Israel and he himself are on the cusp of the conquest of the Promised Land, God reminds them that they had not crossed the Red Sea alone, that they had not made it through 40 years in the desert alone. And as the third chapter of the book of Joshua tells us, they had not walked across the Jordan River on dry ground alone. Their story had not melted the hearts of the people of Jericho with fear or caused their courage to fail on its own. Now, history tells us that Jericho was surrounded by two massive stone walls. The outer wall was 6 feet thick and 20 feet high. The inner wall was 12 feet thick and 30 feet high. There was a 15-foot guarded walkway between these two walls. Our mighty generals at the Pentagon would say that was practically impenetrable. Impenetrable, insurmountable, impossible, discouraging. Yet here they were. The promise of the land was not going away, and the wall would not take it away. The future that God has in store for the people was calling them. Would they have faith anyway? Would they do it anyway? Would they march anyway? Would they sing anyway? Would they dare to hold fast to dreams more powerful than nightmares? Would they dare to pursue possibilities more radical than realities? Just for the sake of that future, that glorious future that kept beckoning to them. The great walled city stood as an obstacle between them and that future. And God says, this is who you can be. Do you want to be that? Here's another wall. Here is another terrifying challenge, something that looks impossible, something that can discourage. And yet, the truth of the future keeps calling. It's a terrifying voice, yet irrepressible. It's a voice that just doesn't quit. It just won't quit. This is who you can be. Do you want to be that? Joshua, remember how I charged you to lead my people into the Promised Land? You did not do that alone. Joshua, these are the walls I am calling you to break through. Do you want to be that? Do not do it alone then. Joshua, do you want to be that? Do not do it alone then. People of Israel, you can be all you can be. Do you want to be that? Do not do it alone then. Do it together. And so they did. They did it anyway. 6 days of showing up around those two thick and tall walls. Of just showing up, using their bodies to just show up. The story muffles away some conversations that may have happened among the folks who were doing this, by the way. Certainly there were doubts, there were fears, and yet the story we have tells us that does not matter. They did show up because the future, the promise, was theirs for the taking. And so they decided to have faith in it. Now, what does this have to do with us? I invite you to come back to that place where we started at the beginning. When you saw and touched and got to know that wall in you. When I had to face the wall in me. Will you dare to break through that wall? God says, Kristen, this is who you can be. Do you want to be that? Stephanie, this is who you can be. Do you want to break through this wall and be that? And you don't have to be alone. You cannot and must not be alone in doing that. This story to me is a story of tremendous power because it speaks to the truth of possibility and of faith. That tomorrow does not have to be like today. Simply because yesterday is not today. We are here today because people marched for us and dared for us. And we are simply called today to pursue a victory over our past. So before ending, I'm going to leave you with the beginning of a sentence, which I hope you can carry with you for the next, however, few hours or minutes or for days. And it goes like this. I want to pursue the possibility of blah, blah, blah as a victory over my past. I'm gonna try to do it myself and say, I am going to pursue the possibility of asking for help before it's too late as a victory over my past. I am going to pursue the possibility of unlearning things I've taken for granted as a victory over my past. What will you do to win over your past and break through that wall? In ending, I want to quote my beloved Toni Morrison in the letter of endorsement she sent to then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. And she writes, and I quote, "Our future is ripe, outrageously rich in its possibilities. Yet unleashing the glory of that future will require a difficult labor. And some may be so frightened of its birth, they will refuse to abandon their nostalgia for the womb." We can get stuck in the womb. We don't have to. We can break through those walls. Tomorrow does not and must not be like today. Because that glorious future keeps on saying, this is who you can be. Do you want to be that? Do not do it alone.